like that league, we talking about the K-Sons. We talking about Louis Lambert, Craig Amos, George Jackson. Like, these are the guys that were playing in my house league, right, when I was young, coming up.
Wow.
So then, after that, we like, yo, well, shit, we want more buck,
Yeah.
So my dad, being a basketball guy, being a city guy, he took us down Bentlow because he was friends with Coach Herman. So he took us down Bentlow. We were playing a couple nights in the Bentlow. We would play like Monday and Wednesday in the Bentlow League. We would play Tuesday and Thursday in Robert Marshall League, where we play against Russell Brock and them dudes, and then we would play back at Hunting Ridge on Saturday. So we would play 5 out of 7 weeks, as youngins coming up. And I remember when I first went down Bentlow, I definitely wasn't good enough for like the Danny Robinsons, the Worlds, Earl Thomas, Rudy Archie was down there. Like, it was crazy. So me and Newell down there, we like, we B-team guys. We like, yo, like, we got to get better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this funny thing, we ain't had no goals, so we could go up Northwestern High School and play. But we just throw the crate up in the alley.
Yeah.
We rocking out like all day, all night on the crate. And if you can shoot that bitch in the crate,
you can shoot that bitch anywhere.
Like, that shit translate. But I'm gonna be honest with you, Taz. Like, I was never what you would call a shooter, right? I was a pure point guard, bro. And like, it's not a lot of people that play that way. If I could compare myself, I would say more like a Rondo type.
Okay.
Right? Like,
okay.
Defense, playmaking. I was always a coach on the floor. I got like extra big hands and long arms, so my passing is like, I was always an excellent passer. Like, even to this day, I'm like that. I'm a crazy passer.
Once a dimer, always a dime, right?
I used to call myself the dime dropper, bro.
Man.
I'm dropping them dimes, man.
Man, that was
the
golden era.
Just coming up at Bentlow, man, with all that competition. But like I was saying before, not only was it the competition, but these guys became my friends for life. Like, these are my guys now. That's why we say B for L, Bentlow for life. Because, we went through that grind together with Coach Herman, and it's a family, family forever.
And see, that's what I tell people now. I was like, if you laced them up, I don't care how far you got, but you went through this here in Baltimore. You grinded, we battled. You know what I'm saying, man? This is fraternity, man. You know what I'm saying? It's one whole big family. I don't care east, west, south, north. It don't matter, man. Y'all tied them up. Y'all ran laps. Did suicides, all that. Y'all knew what it was to play in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Everybody knew what it was to play basketball from here. We're gonna take each other's head off. We definitely gonna do that, and we're gonna play hard all the time. We're gonna play hard all the time.
Always respect, man. East, west, and that's why it go to the thing like, I was everywhere, and if you hoop, like, I saw you there. I ain't do a lot of east side hooping, like boat check, things of that nature, because west side stayed over west, east pretty much stayed over east, unless we came together like at the Dome or something like that, to compete in the BNBL playoffs or whatever. But yeah, man, I got respect for all those guys that came through that Baltimore grind.
And now look, I remember right when I went to go play with Spots, and you came. This is probably when I don't know. I want to say this when you start getting in the coaching. You know what I'm saying? You were still pretty young. You know what I mean? And then like you was a sponge. Like I don't know. It was probably, did we go to Boo Williams or was it up in New Jersey? War in the Woods.
The Tim Thomas joint?
It was yeah. But
Players Ball.
That's what it was?
Players Ball.
Do you remember that?
I remember all of
that. All right. Now, I'm gonna hand it off to Coach in a minute. I want to talk about this pilot. This pilot. I want to talk about the pilot. I want to talk about your career pilot. And I understand y'all ain't getting a lot of victories. Y'all ain't getting a lot of victories, but y'all got some. Talk to the people about when you played that pilot. And first of all, you smart. Let's get there. People wasn't going to pilot to play basketball. They was going to play football. You know?
Yeah.
And far as the difficulty even getting into school, staying eligible, and playing basketball. Can you talk to the people about that?
Yeah, man. It's a story behind that one too, man. So, you know, again, being from the Park Heights area, all my homeboys, like they went to Northwestern. So Northwestern had a really good program back then too, with Count and all them guys over there. You know, so I really wanted to go to Northwestern, Dunbar, or Towson Catholic.
Okay.
Because you know, Coach Mike knew me since I was a little boy because he was homeboys with my dad.
Okay.
So when you speaking to me being a coach early, like it was some circumstances involved with that. Like I was supposed to go and to Virginia State, but I had my son when I was 18 years old.
Okay.
He was born when I was 19.
Okay.
So I wanted to go away, but the situation wasn't like that, so I had to stay home and really, you know, take care of my son.
Mm-hmm.
So when I stayed home, I went to Kingsville Community College, and Coach Mike was like, bro, you got to stay around the game. So he brought me and Joe Conley in as young assistant coaches. So he bring us in as assistant coaches, so, you know, we figured we're going to learn from him, you know, everything like that, right? Nah, man, he threw us right into the fire, made us assistant coaches on the varsity. You know, we had some big-time teams back then. So, and that's how I got into the coaching thing. And one quick story before I go to the poly thing. My first year coaching, you know, I'm just along for the ride. You know, I'm young, I'm 2 years older than the dudes is playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, Greg Penn and all them guys, right?
Yeah.
So, we in the locker room halftime, we playing at the mat. Halftime at the mat, the game. Coach Mike said a couple things. He like, Lord Eddie, what you guys say? I'm like, huh? He like, yo, tell him what you see. So, you know, I told him a little bit what I saw, but it took me a minute to get my voice, you know, but it was just incredible that he gave me that opportunity on that level, right? But as far as the poly thing is concerned, I wanted to go to those 3 schools. My friends from Bentlow was going to Towson Catholic. So that's Danny Robinson, Earl Thomas, but Calvin Scruggs was there. Calvin Scruggs was going there. So if I was like, yo, like, you're not going to play over Cal. So, you know, you need to go somewhere else. And then he was like, you're not going to get a fair shot at Dunbar because you're from the West Side. So, you know, I just took advantage of my, you know, my book smarts or whatever. And I'd already put in for Poly, so I got accepted to Poly and did the Poly thing. When I first got to Poly, as a freshman, they started me on JV, but I was playing, Leon Howard was the man at Poly. I don't know if y'all remember Leon Howard.
No, I've been reading. I've read some of y'all articles.
Yeah, so he know a lot about. I mean, everybody know about his dad. He's a legend. You know, Lafayette or whatever. So Leon was a dog, bro. I mean, so I started like half the year on JV, and then like Leon would get like 30 a game in high school. So Coach Bucky Kemet was like, yo, why don't you, you know, brought me up to the varsity, like right before the playoffs, a couple games before the playoffs, so I could run the point and free Leon up the score. So I got the varsity, you know, as a freshman, and when we got to the playoff, you know, this is the MSA. Yeah. So this is Catholic and publics playing against each other. And at this time, like, we ain't respect the Catholics, right? We the city ball was where it was at. So we ended up playing at Walbrook against Devin, Mousy, George. You know, that Walbrook squad, they knocked us out. But that was my true initiation to, like, Baltimore high school basketball. And I always figured, like, after that, you know, I could hold my own with anybody between the Bentlow thing and then playing at that level. But speaking of what you said about the wins and losses, we really only had like one bad year, and that was my junior year, at least when I was there.
Okay.
Like, because my freshman and sophomore year, I was there with Leon, so we was very competitive, right? We was like a middle type team, won about 70% out games. My junior year, horrible year, bro, horrible. And then my senior year is when I got to play with Antonio Freeman, Tony Bird Jenkins, Melvin Pringle. You know, we had a really Eric Herbert. We had a really nice squad of youngins. And I always get on buttons.
He was a scorer. Did he average 28? He averaged like 20. Was it 28 in high school? He was a whole bucket.
So my senior year, Buttons and Bird, they was my sidekicks. They both averaged 20 or above. So that's what I'm telling you. I was distributing.
Yeah.
Because them dudes could really put the ball in the basket. Now, I give you like 12 points a game or whatever. I hit the clutch shots if I got to take them, but I always took more pride in dropping dimes and giving assists, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, my senior year with Buttons and Bird, we had a really nice year. We were ranked. We knocked off Cardinal Gibbons. In the MSA playoffs, we knocked off Towson Catholic, my father now. Knocked off Calvin and Danny and them.
Yeah, I know that felt good. I know that felt good.
That felt real good, right? Because they were and Dana Marshall, they was all my homeboys. And then we ended up losing to a top 5 nationally ranked Lake Clifton team with Ben Harley and all them cats.
Yeah. They was tough. And they had size.
But my senior year, like, it could have went a whole different way, Taz, because we lost to Dunbar at home by 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
We lost to Southern at home on a half-court shot by Craig Tyson. So I'm telling you, we was right there, bro.
Wow.
Right there, you know? And we had a 6'4" center, Ethan, man. But we was just some hoopers.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Now,
so that was, my Poly experience was a great experience, and and like I said, we had some tough losses, but I always cherish my times at Poly.
Already. Good times. Now, Coach D.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna slide back a little bit and let you take over and talk.
All right, cool. All right, so Coach, we're gonna flip to the coaching side now. So, I know you say you started off with Mike Daniels over there at Towson Catholic as an assistant, right? What was your first? So we back. So yeah, Coach, those Woodlawn teams definitely was legendary, man. When it came to competing, like you said, those guys won a lot of games, and I know when you went in town, you kicked a lot of ass and take names when you went in town, just like we did at Randallstown. And definitely, man, a big shout out to Coach Holly, who went on and won state championships at Milford Mill and led a great program there as well.
Right.
Yeah. So by you being not one of, but a few guys only that I know of that coach in all 3 shoe programs, right? Which one? Well, I'm not going to say which one, because I know they all have some type of special meaning to you. But what are some of the players that you coached that came out of those programs?
Well, start off on the Nike circuit with the Baltimore Blue. That was early on. That was before they had made it a formal EYBL. But it was like even tougher because it wasn't as many teams, and it was like the best teams from around the country. So, we had of course, start off with Mello. We had Taz, Keith Jennifer, Melvin Scott, Deshaun Lucky, Clem Sorgo, who was the Baltimore County Player of the Year. He had my 2 best players, Kevin Ben, Jeff Garnett. They were big guys. Keon Johnson. We were loaded, man. Davon Haskins, Kenny Minor,
Yeah.
Maurice Bart. I mean, come on, man. Like,
Right.
it's like a who's who back then, right?
Down, right.
Because it wasn't 1,000 teams back then.
Of course, yeah.
So it was the best of the best on your team. So really back then it was just us with the Baltimore Blue, and then it was Scotty Bowden, the Bowden brothers and their crew over at Baltimore Select.
Yeah.
One of my main men, he didn't play for me with the Blue, was Terrence Whiters, rest in peace, right? Lil T, that was my little man. I knew him since he was like
bucket.
9-10 years old.
He was a bucket, man.
Yeah, man. And T was an underdog, right? Who made himself into a player. So those are the kids that I always gravitated to. On the Adidas circuit, right? My son played when he played basketball. He was on there with Juju Reese, Angelo Brizzi, Jared Billups, who went on to Siena. Brizzi went on to Villanova.
Yep.
I had Anthony Walker. I had Cam Spencer. I'm really good friends with the Spencer family. Real good friends with. I work with Pat and Cam, and it's amazing. Their story is amazing.
Yes.
Both of them being in the league now. I tell the story about Pat Spencer. I got to know him because I was recruiting him to come to Gilman, and he ended up going to Boys Latin. But Pat Spencer was a little like N1 kid, little guard, did all the N1 tricks. Yeah, he always had spice to his game, man, always. And so him becoming the type of athlete that he became wasn't really a surprise. And the Spencers, I would say, are two of the most competitive people I've ever been around. So it's not a surprise that they made it to the level, that they made it. The Adidas, who else I had on Adidas, man? Oh, Ace Baldwin was my point guard, when I coached 17 under. One of those things as a coach where you got a guy like Ace, it's like cruise control.
Of course.
You just pushing buttons because he got it,
Yeah.
You ain't got to worry about the team pressing. You ain't got to worry about really nothing because Ace handling everything, so it was a pleasure to coach him. RJ, I had some nice players on that level as well. And then I spent the last, I think it's been 7 years with Team Thrill on the Under Armour circuit, where we've had, Jarris Walker, Derek Queen, of course, Mikey Williams. I brought some of my guys over from Adidas, Jared Billups. I brought Nick over from he played at Loyola. So I've been privileged, man, to work with a lot of talent. And then again, to have those relationships with those guys. Hassan Massenberg, right, played for me. Gabe Dorsey, like the list goes on and on. But just the fact that I had those guys, when they come back in town, coach, can I get in the gym? Can I get some shots up? Can you work me out? Like I said, that's the true testament that makes it real, man. That you really had an impact on their lives.
For sure, man.
I just had as a matter of fact, just had Hassan Massenberg, Trey English. Bryce Lindsay didn't come this time, but Bryce is another one of my kids that I've known since he was little. And Hassan, Trey, and Gabe were just in the gym this Sunday because Gabe is getting ready for some NBA workouts. He got workouts with Boston and Milwaukee, and he's actually with Reliance Sports, which is my man Hassan Massenberg Sr.'s organization. Him and his nephew Will Sykes. They have a Baltimore agency, Baltimore sports agency.
Wow.
That everybody should jump on, man. Like, instead of going to these big agencies where they promise you everything, go with these guys that's going to take care of you and really care about you.
What's the name of the agency again, Coach?
Reliance Sports Agency.
Reliance Sports Agency. Yes.
Yeah, and right now,
upcoming hoopers, make sure you do your research, man, and take a look at those guys. They representing you.
And Reliance has branched out. Like, it's unfortunate, but a lot of the local basketball guys that have relationship with us, have relationships with Hassan Massenberg, chose to go elsewhere, and he just expanded, man. So they got MLB now, they got football, so they branching out.
Right.
You know, they branching out, doing a great job, man. Yeah.
Right. Right. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Switching gears to high school. I know you coached Woodlawn for many years. Then I saw you pop up at Gilman, and then you took a year or two off, and then I seen you at the Seed School. How did you get to the Seed School?
Okay. Yeah, good question. So I actually resigned from from Woodlawn because
Okay.
my son was accepted into Gilman.
I remember talking to you about that.
And
Yeah.
Gilman at the time was a B conference program. They weren't really taking basketball seriously. And I'm not with that. So if he was going to be there, I wanted to make sure that the atmosphere was set for him. So I went over to Gilman as an associate head coach with Owen Daly. Again, really appreciate Owen Daly, Tim Holly, the AD, for bringing me over and really giving me the leeway and the responsibility that they gave me at Gilman. Like I was able to really represent Gilman almost like a head coach,
Yeah.
but I
thought you was the head coach.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was the man on the ground, but I can't not the impact of Owen Daly for letting me be that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like not having the ego and really letting me do my thing for the benefit of the program. And we had some nice years, man. We built that thing up. We won the B conference with Cyrus Jones, Diego Jones' son, who ended up going to the NFL.
Yep.
And Ryan Ripken. They were our best players at the time. And then off of that success, we petitioned with the school to move to the A conference. And that was a lot of that had to do with Owen, because Owen was a McDonough graduate, so he wanted to play at the highest level. And then we knew that if we wanted to get the caliber of players that we wanted, we had to have the proper level.
Right.
Right. So one interesting fact about just real quick, I'm over here watching the Mystics game, and I just saw my man Sidney Johnson, who's the head coach of the Mystics, played for me at Towson Catholic. So again, man, these things go way back. But a fun fact about Gilman, before I got to Gilman, Gilman had one Division I basketball player, right? In their history, and that was Jimmy Fields, who ended up playing at Morgan. After my tenure at Gilman, we ended up having 8 Division I basketball players, and right now we got 3 pros. And I think we're gonna have another one because I think Jalen Rucker should get an opportunity to play pro ball somewhere.
One of my favorite point guards coming out.
These are the things that I'm proud of. These are the things that really make coaching worthwhile. And like I said, Owen gave me a call, I think it was last year during the NCAA tournament. So it was about 10 o'clock at night, all right, watching the games. And he was like, Coach, like I don't know if he said he apologized or it was like I didn't know, Coach, but we brought so many guys through there trying to recruit them. And then like he was seeing these guys in the NCAA tournament or in pro basketball. He like, damn, Coach, you had the eye. Like we had Emmanuel Quickly, Kamal Stokes came through there, Montez. Like one year, man, we used to have a Gilman basketball camp every year. And me and my son always talk about this. It only went up to the 8th grade. But one summer, man, we had a camp. We had Justin Lewis, Isaiah Todd, Emmanuel Quickly, Montez. Jalen Rucker was a baby at that time. Like, it was like an All-American camp. And this was at Gilman. And a lot of people don't know about these things, right? But that's why I appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity to kind of say
this is what this platform is for, Coach.
Yeah.
This is what it's for to show love to a lot of guys and get stories out that a lot of people don't even know about.
So I was trying to get, we had our hand in all those guys because Gilman was such a great institution it was an easy sell in terms of trying to get them there. But we ended up with some great ones like Tyler Foster, Jordan Foster, Everett Winchester. Had a young man named Kieran Sandy who came to us from London. My man Joe Connolly was friends with his mom, and we got him over from London as a junior. He played 2 years at Gilman, ended up going to Holy Cross. He's now playing pro ball for the London Lions, And I would always call him the prime minister because he was like a regal guy, you know what I mean? Like expect nothing but big things from Kieran, But these are the experiences, man, that really make this thing worthwhile and why I still do what I do.
Right. Awesome, man. Awesome. So I know you was still in the process of building the seed school. You had a great season this year. And I think before we got on air, you was talking about you having some most of your team return, right? But before we get there, talk a little bit about y'all magical run last year as a seed school.
Okay, so the backstory on that is, like I said, this is my 4th year. So my first year at seed, so after Gilman didn't end well.
Okay.
Gilman didn't end well. Like I said, I built up the program or helped build up the program. And then my son was coming out of the 8th grade into 9th grade. So that's what it was all built for, to have those guys there, Christian Winborn, Rayon Lane, those types of. Rayon just got drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Chris Winborn is now at Nicholls State.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. He started off at St. Joseph's, then went to Iona. Now he's at Nicholls State. Owen had a young family. Owen Daly had a young family at the time. So he really couldn't do the day-to-day of the basketball anymore. So he resigned as my son went to the 9th grade. So we got a new coach in, Coach Will Bartz, who's a really good coach, came from Indian Creek, but he just didn't see eye to eye, on certain things, and especially in terms of my son. So, we contemplating transferring my son. He was a really good athlete overall, above average basketball player. He played on the BBC teams with Juju and all those guys that made the Final Four at the Adidas Gauntlet. He was the backup point guard. But he wasn't going to get the opportunity that I wanted him to get. So, bro, he decided to just take a year off because he had also battled a lot of injuries between 6th and 8th grade. He took the year off, man, and went to the track for indoor track. So his sophomore year, he does indoor track in the winter. He does okay, gets familiar, whatever. Man, by that spring, he's the MIAA triple jump champion. He's first team all Metro, right? And then, so at the school, at the season over, he like, all right, Dad, like, am I going back to BBC? Like, who am I playing with this year? Like, my guy, your basketball career is over. Yeah, you are elite at this track thing. So that's the move we're going to make. And a lot of people, people that know me gave me a lot of credit for, say, allowing him, to go that route.
Yeah, to pick his path.
But, when it's your kid, whatever's best for him, right? So, and it helped our relationship as well, because I think he thought that part of our relationship was built on him playing basketball. And I'm like, bro, if you playing marbles, bro, I'm right there. I'm a fanatic, right? I'm like, yo, you ain't roll that marble, right? Yo, you should have hit that other marble. You know what I mean? Like, I'm with you 100% whatever you do. So, he went that route and it really benefited. He just graduated from Cornell a couple weekends ago.
Yes.
With 2 degrees.
Yes.
He was a captain of the track team, became a Kappa, and now he's about to move on to his professional life. So all things happen for a reason, man. Even if it's uncomfortable at the time, like, you just got to stay in it, push through it, and just stay positive, man. And the right thing will happen for you when you come out on the other side.
That's right, man. That's right. And that's that's a test for the youth today too, that, you know, even though we all love the game of basketball, that's not the end all be all, and that's not the only way that you can achieve success
That's right.
and get your college paid for and do great things,
That's
right?
right.
And just like Jalen just pivoted and went to track, and he was trying to get back to basketball, but you let him know that, hey man, you found your calling with this thing.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and that was great. And another thing on the coaching side that was great, but also on the parent side too, because you still would have had guys that's basketball lovers would try to push their kid towards playing basketball, even though, you know, track is, you know, the breadwinner for him.
That's right.
You know, and
That's right.
just for guys to say, yeah, my son is playing, you know, playing XYZ.
That's
He
right.
should be, you know, excelling more on the things that he really is good at.
That's right.
So,
But speaking of the seed situation, when I first got there 4 years ago, well, from the Gilman thing, so I left Gilman my son's sophomore year. And those were the years that I went down. You know, my friend Kevin Bullock down at Premier Basketball
big
Training.
shout out to Kevin Bullock.
Yeah, shout out to Kev, right? I had done some things. I'd always supported his program. So he like, bro, you ain't doing nothing. Come on down. You know, so I trained there for 2.5 years. And I tell him all the time, man, like the time that I was training at Premier, especially like during COVID, when all the other gyms were closed and like we were the central gym in Baltimore. Like it was an amazing experience, man. Like I got to be hands-on with the crucial development of a lot of really good players, right? Just to name a few, Bub Carrington, and Khalees Fisher, you know. And Bub, Big Bub, rest in peace. Still can't believe my man is gone, man. But Bub, rest in peace. You know, he ain't let too many people touch Lil Bub.
You're right.
You know, so it was like Gerard Rucker, Jimmy Price, Bullock, and me.
Yep.
Like that's it, you know. And I always appreciated that, you know. And Bub used to always. I asked him one day, like, Bub, you know, like, why us? Or I knew Gerard because that's his right hand man. Gerard is an incredible trainer, you
Yes.
know.
Big shouts
And
out to
Gerard is
Gerard,
family
for sure.
Yeah,
Yes,
Gerard
indeed.
is family. So, but he was like, Ed, it's not the trainer. Anybody can train. It's what you're saying to him. It's what you're telling him. You're speaking the same language that I speak. So that's why, you know, he had me involved with Lil Bub, you know. But so I was down Premier for a couple years, and that's when I got the call. So my man New York again, Lance Fuller. So Kirk Sykes is the head of school at the Seed. Morgan grad, good friend. He was also principal at Woodlawn for some time, but not when I was coaching. This is just when I was working there.
Okay.
So he actually called Lance to see if Lance was interested in the Seed job. And Lance was like, nah, you know, I'm not into it like that. I don't have the time. But you know what? You should call Ed. Ed not coaching right now. See if he's interested. So, you know, Mr. Sykes gave me the call. The AD, and this how things happen, man. The AD just happened to be Canute Curtis. So I coached his son, Logan Curtis, at BBC, 17 under, and I used to train I used to train his daughter. So it was like a no-brainer, you know. So when I went to Seed, I was really like, because they didn't have a program to speak of. So I was like, you know, what y'all trying to do? Because, you know, I'm a serious basketball man. So
right.
If I'm up here, we got to really trying to do this thing. So they was with it. They brought me in. Another friend of the family, Christian Thomas, Courtney Thomas. So Christian was going to high school. He was actually supposed to go to high school in Houston, but you know, just maturity wise and things of that nature, we didn't think it was ready. So you know, Courtney and his grandfather, Courtney and his father, said, "Well, shit, Ed's at Seed. Let's send him to Ed and try to get him right." You know, and then and the plan with Chris was always to keep him for like 2 years. And then hopefully he moved to an elite situation.
Right.
That was always the plan, whether it be IMG, Mount Ver, whatever. I knew he was better than my Seed situation. So I always appreciated that he even came there in the first place. You know, so he gave me 2 good years. But in his second year, I brought in a big freshman class. I don't know if you remember, I brought in like 9 freshmen, all AAU type kids, really, really good players. We had a really good year. And out of those 9 guys, 6 of them transferred.
Wow.
6 of them transferred. So, but it was the guys that stayed. So my team that went on that run this year, those were the guys that stayed. Those were not frontline guys.
Right.
I challenge anybody to name anybody on my team before they played for seed. They weren't those guys, right? But they were down for the development. The school, by being a public boarding school, we get a little cheat code here and there. We in the gym at 5:30 in the morning, because they on campus.
Yeah.
We got an incredible fitness center, so we on the weights. We got out. We on the outdoor court. So we've been really putting in work. So this year was just a culmination of the work, of the belief in me, the belief in the school, and those guys just staying the course instead of transferring, right? And for real, man, our goal was, because the year that I had all those freshmen, like, we beat Dunbar, we had some great wins, and then we lost in the second round of Forest Park. And I thought we were a better we were a better team, but we were not the better team that day. They came in, really punched us in the mouth, and we just wanted to bounce back from that, right? So then the following year with my new group, when they were sophomores, we were upset by Western Tech in the second round, right? So, 2 years, 2 times upset at home, so this year was kind of like our revenge tour. Like that's how we carried it.
Right.
I reassessed myself and like what I could do better to help these kids. And I'm gonna tell you, Coach, what it really was our film study. Right? So Canute paid the money to get us the Huddle app.
Okay.
So we utilized the Huddle app, give it to the kids. They in the dorms at night watching the Huddle games. I'm doing little comments on it. They really became students of the game. And the season started, we started off 1-3 because we are an independent team. So we don't play in the city league. So we don't get the city schedule. So I have to make my schedule. So I can play anybody I want. But the downside of that is, in order to play the private schools, I got to play them early before they get to their schedule.
Their schedule, okay.
Right? So we playing them when really we should be scrimmaging, right? It's our first game, and they 5 games in. So we lost to St. Paul, Curley, and Dunbar. We were 1-3 to start the season. And then, we got our bearings under us, and we started to make a nice run, Yeah. But I think the turning point for us this year was when we played Poly at home. Like, Poly had beat us the year before, a couple years before, on a 3-pointer, buzzer beater, right, at our place. So we played Poly. Much respect to my guy Donald Thomas, who's the current coach at Poly. Excellent coach. Poly's lucky to have him. I'm glad Poly has him because I'm a Poly alum. But that man is a college coach, bro. That man belongs coaching a college team, right? But we in a battle with Poly, who we were the better team. We had better talent than this team, his first year. But it was 38-38, something like that at the end of 3. And bro, like, they didn't score in the fourth quarter. We outscored them 16-0 in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
That's the first time I've ever had a team shut out a high school team.
Strapping up for sure.
Yeah. So I told them, and I can use language on here, but I told them, because we had just lost to it. We had just went up to Philly and lost to a really good West Philly team.
Okay.
And they kind of punked us, right? And we didn't give our best representation. And I was like, yo, we soft, bro. Like, we didn't represent Baltimore, man. We did not represent Baltimore. And right now, we are a soft team, right? I even had a couple Philly guys come in like, bro, we expected more. Like this Philly Baltimore thing is a beef. I
Right.
don't think y'all understood what y'all was coming. Y'all didn't understand the assignment, right? What y'all was supposed to come up here for. So, but after that Poly game, I was like, yo, I always mess with y'all, yo. Y'all was my guys. I really like this team. Y'all was my guys. But after that Poly game, man, like y'all my niggas for real.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we right there
We
now,
on our
right?
way now,
And
right?
I'm gonna tell you something.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you something else, coach. Like you got to know your personnel, right? So my teams, I like to play fast. I like to play off the secondary break. You know how we get down.
Yep.
Play off the secondary break. A lot of concepts instead of plays and stuff. And that team just wasn't ready for that, right? So I had to slow things down. So we kind of figured it out in the last quarter of the season that we were more of a defensive team. So we started taking more pride in our defense and just started strangling people as opposed to trying to outscore them. And that's why you see our scores are kind of low because we would say 1st to 50.
Right.
You know, if we keep the other team below 50, then we got a great chance to win games. And of course, I wish we had scored a little more, but you know, the object is to win the game.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
that's the model that we use moving forward, going into the playoffs and things of that nature.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, man. And you guys, like I said, you guys had a great run, man. Just watching it, watching from afar and watching, like I said, watching you from the first year that you got there and building it up and seeing, how the kids responded. That's definitely was that was a joy to watch and a joy to see, man. Who are some of the players, returning players that you look forward to coaching next year? Give some of those guys a shout out.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we got most of our guys back. I'm gonna give up big ups to my seniors that departed first. You know what I'm saying? Ahmad Evans, Joel Johnson, Ashlyn Miller, Tyler Dubose, and Mayel Mack, right? They held it down for us as seniors, as leaders, but our returning group is really good group. So I had the kid Khaled Almatine Evans, who again mother is a friend of mine from Poly. He was originally from New Jersey, came to Baltimore in the 8th grade, hadn't really played a whole lot of ball, but he's a gym rat, right? So he's been progressing over the years. He became our guy this year. He averaged 23 during the playoffs. And he's the one that hit the game winners against Patterson on the road at Patterson Mill, and he hit the game winner against Emerson in the semifinal at Wise. Omar Williams is our Kawhi Leonard, right? Our defensive guy, right? He had the assignment of DJ. When we were fortunate enough to beat Emerson, DJ did his thing in the first half. We made an adjustment at halftime, and we're really able to kind of limit him in the second half to give ourselves a chance to win. And then I have a young man that came to us in the 9th grade from the Congo named Murdy Shabidi. Murdy had only played 1 year of basketball before getting here. And Murdy actually stays with me now. He's lived with me this school year.
Okay.
Really, he's 6'8" kid, super athletic. These kids have really bright futures. Point guard Chase Prelude. I came up with his father, Corey Prelude. Yeah, we had a really nice group coming back, man. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. So definitely looking forward to next year and looking forward to watching you guys play. Always a pleasure seeing you, your dad and the coaching staff on the sidelines doing y'all thing, from knowing you guys from way back from
I thought we was gonna talk about our battles, bro.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm just trying to get the time in, man.
All right, I got you.
Get the time, man. But those battles, man, were man, I was just on the phone with Rivers today. We're gonna do something. I'm doing something down in Atlanta in July with him and his squad down there. And I told him that I was going to interview today for the pod. So but nah, those were legendary days. Like I said, I had a lot of respect for you guys, because when I first moved here from in college, because my wife is from here, and we moved here, I was I got a job as being the head fresh soft coach at Cardinal Gibbons.
Okay.
So my first 4 years of coaching, when I first got here, I didn't know anything about public school basketball. You know, all I knew was Towson Catholic and Spalding and Mount St. Joe, and that's all I knew. Ready, that's all I knew. And when the head coach from Cardinal Gibbons got the McDaniel job, he couldn't take everybody. I lived right around the corner from Randallstown, so I got an interview with Coach Rivers in Randallstown, and that's when I got introduced to the public school basketball. You know what I'm saying? I introduced to the rivalry of Woodlawn, Randallstown. Randallstown, Woodlawn. It doesn't matter if it's at Randallstown or Woodlawn. You know, standing room only. So yeah, and then being with Rivers and then get introduced to young brothers like yourself, and that was coaching at that time. But
big shout out to Coach Rivers and what he did over at Randallstown, what y'all did over at Randallstown. Steel sharp to steel, right?
Yeah.
So like I give a lot of respect to him for me to becoming the coach that I am, right? Having to battle him, seeing the standard that he set with his programs. And like it's no defense. It's no scrambling, pressing defense that's going to bother my guys because we went against them Randallstown teams, man. Like that, like I tell people all the time, man, like in that time that I was in the county with Rivers, he might have had the best run of talent, like that you'll see, man. Like he had some real dudes over there. Like
it was some unbelievable talent for sure.
Yeah, and dudes that kept playing and went on to play pro, play overseas, things of that nature. And I ain't gonna lie, man, when that had something to do with me moving on to Gilman, when Rivers left and me and him had a conversation and we was talking about, all the state titles he had won. And he was just like, I think it was one team he had, it might have been that Johnny Higgins team. And he was, and you can speak to it, I don't know, but he was like, they were very successful win-loss wise, but it was a real struggle that year. You know what I mean? And he was like, Ed, all these state titles, don't matter if you're not having, that experience. Right. So I always kept that in mind, and I always focused on the experience that I was having with my teams and not always the end result.
Right.
But I do have a little bragging rights though.
No,
right?
You do.
Because he brought this to my attention. Y'all got a ring. I think it say 27-1.
Yeah, y'all the one on our floor,
baby.
On the Randallstown floor.
Yeah.
Y'all got that. I remember that. Yeah.
Remember? Do you remember? Y'all was playing the big payback.
Yeah. Yes, man.
Yo had the James Brown rocking in the gym.
Like,
oh
that's
shit!
Right. I'm mad.
Yeah. Oh shit! Like they ready.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
man.
Right,
that was some legendary times, man. I wasn't traded for nothing, man.
Legendary games, man. Legendary games, legendary coaches, and legendary times. And again, to go back to when we first started talking, a lot of those guys from your team and guys from our team are coaches and professionals.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So the model that you said and you guys said, the model we said over at Randallstown, obviously we was doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing like having, because we got a little minor group chat with some of the players at Randallstown too. And it's nothing like, running into those guys or reading the group chat or reading, you know what I'm saying? Or just catching up with each other and just, reminiscing, or the guys that's coaches now saying, man, I'm a coach now, and how did y'all put up with us? And I can't believe y'all did this. And you know what I'm saying? So they seen it from that standpoint. So that's
but what's crazy is, like, it was all respect, right? Even though we was battling at that level. And when I see your guys give me that love like they played for me.
Right. Same thing. Danny and those guys, same thing.
Yeah, it's all love. We respect what we went through together. So it was a great time, man.
Sure.
Yep.
Iron sharpen iron, man. But coach, you on your way, man. You headed back to that prominence, man, with the C school. I think, from just hearing and talking with you, man, I think you're on the right track, and hopefully you'll be back at Comcast and winning it this time.
Appreciate it, man.
Winning this time, and definitely when I get my schedule together, I'm definitely going to put Seed on my schedule this year to come down and watch you play. Not even
once I get it together, I'll make sure I send you the schedule.
For sure, coach. For sure, man. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate your time. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, Coach Eddie Green, the C School. Thanks again, Coach.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
My brother.
Right. Take care. Yeah.